now. Sisa Ntshona has returned to the helm of SA Tourism with immediate effect. He was suspended in April last year, but was cleared of all charges against him in December. Now, the suspension came as a massive shock to the industry with the announcement just weeks before Africa's tourism indaba. So, after 8.5 months on suspension, on full pay, Ntshona has resumed his role as CEO. Well, he joins me in studio this morning. Mr. Ntshona, thank you very much for your time. You've been out of action for 8.5 months. What's it like coming back to the office? Is it straight back at work? I'm just trying to get a feel of what's it like being absent for a whole 8 months and then you're suddenly back. Do you just get on with it, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a very humbling experience yesterday, and just getting to meet people. I call them my family. When you spend the better part of your day with people, you get to know them. You get to know the intimate side and personal side as well. So, this week is about reconnecting. It's about getting up to speed. As you rightfully say, for the last 9 months, actually, I've been an outsider looking in. So I'm really catching up and really getting a sense in terms of where we are, really looking at priorities and see how we can excel a couple of things.
The allegations against you, of course, you were cleared, but in the main, how do you think, or where do you think they stemmed from?
I choose actually not to focus on that. Otherwise, it's going to distract me from what I need to do. I really don't know, nor do I really care. I think the key issue is allegations were put against me. I was very clear that I want to see this through the end. There will be no settlements. There will be no agreements being done. I want to answer them right to the end because my reputation, my standing in society was more important than any other thing.
I'll tell you who cares, Mr. Ntshona, about why a person in your position is suspended for 9 months, as you say, and is suddenly cleared. It's the taxpayer that cares. And they care about you being on this suspension for 9 months, on full pay. And yet, here we are today with all of those charges against you cleared. That person, the taxpayer, cares.
Absolutely, and I fully agree with you. The responsibility, however, in my view, of actually taking the nation, the taxpayer, into confidence as to what the allegations were, why they did it, and where we stand with it is actually the board of South African Tourism themselves. I think they are the ones that best to be able to answer all of those. Mine is to really answer to whatever it is that they put to me. And as I said, I'm vindicated where I stand right now, and I'm ready to go back to work as I've already started.
Your relationship with the board right now?
It's professional. I've spent time with the chair, and we've really cleared the air and said, let's rather look forward and really focus on what needs to be done. It's going to take time, obviously, to build confidence in everything else there. But, it is what it is, and I'd rather focus on looking forward and doing the best for this sector that is really important for this economy of ours.
How do you do the best for this sector with our national carrier in limbo? They have just cancelled about 12 flights in total to various destinations. 10 of those are local and 2 of them foreign. How do you do that as SA Tourism? How do you do your work in this kind of environment?
The issue obviously around SAA is concerning, but it's not surprising. If you look at the percentages of successful business rescues in the country, it's actually very small. I think SAA finds itself where the likes of Swiss Air were about 15 years ago, where literally they had to fold in order to re-emerge again, and now they're stronger and better. The advantage that we have is that we do have at least an array of alternative airlines that we are confident will fill the gap that is left by SAA.
But how reliant were you, or how reliant are you still on SAA in order to bring those tourists coming into the country?
Oh, quite fundamentally. I mean, for markets and routes like Ghana, like, Nigeria as well, they are the only carriers that do that routing. So therefore...
So you can imagine the inconvenience.
Absolutely. The inconvenience, but also the brand damage. Because they carry our flag, the perception, especially outside looking in, is that, the country may be a bit of in a turmoil. But we have 12 offices around the world, and we've really sent a very clear call to them to reinforce to the market that South Africa is open for tourism business. South Africa is willing and able to accept them as well, and this shall pass, like it has happened with other national carriers around the world as well.
The impact on tourism right now in the country, what are the numbers looking like?
The numbers are under pressure, and they really are under pressure. And I think there's a couple of key reforms that we are hopeful that when they kick in, they'll start to have an impact. The first one is unabridged certificates for people traveling, parents traveling with children. That's gone away with, so that barrier is kind of really removed. The second part is our visa regime. We are really, really laggards around the world in terms of, moving to e-visas. We still require people to physically go to missions, drop off their passport, wait 5-6 days. Hopefully something comes out the end. So we've piloted a couple of countries, with e-visas. Kenya is one of them, and I believe it went successfully. So we want to roll that out and make sure that we can get people coming through.
Sisa Ntshona, thank you very much for making the time to come and speak to us here on The First Take, and I wish you well in your endeavors. It's going to be a tough environment.
Absolutely.
Thanks indeed. He is the